Regarding the game, that was a tough one. It hurt. I thought we had a great chance and really believed we'd win the game all the way to the very end. My opinion hasn't changed much, and we played hard, and the team really wanted to win that game. One extra turnover and a couple critical penalties. That basically was the difference in the game. I had a nice visit with Gary Binkle before the game, and excited. Maybe excited is not the word, but I'm happy for him and his decision, and hopefully what plays out for his life. I think he's a good person and a good coach. And so met with our team this morning, watched the film, have had a team meeting, and now we're on to our next game. Fresno State comes in. I spent an extra amount of time watching the past game, and so we just barely started on Fresno. And anxious for us to play well at home and finish undefeated at home, I think, is a big thing. Really would like our seniors to have that experience. And anxious to play well and to continue to improve this team. So with that, I'll take questions. I think that's all I have.
Why has the run game struggled so much the last 2 games?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I really, I think that I have a theory. The theory would be that we were shorthanded against San Jose, and so I think that might have had some influence. And we got our players back, and Missouri's pretty good up front, and so that might have had an impact. But our execution and determination and finish and assignments in general isn't as sharp as what it was early, and we need it to be. And so one of the main priorities as we look forward to finishing the season and improving is targeting that area. Adam Hine did not look fully ready, and that was kind of an overestimation on our part, maybe, of what his status was. But Algie and Francis are running hard, and so I like them, but we need to do a better job of blocking, targeting, and finishing. And it's the best answer I can give.
Do you see Tanner, just because he has to take on more because the running game's only gained, 40 yards in each of the last 2 games, do you see that weighing on him in that sense?
I don't see it weighing on him, but I think he understands it, and I think he's taking on more and handling it well, just as the game plays out, and kind of knowing that. And it's not ideal. We'd certainly like to be more balanced. We'd certainly like to have the defense have to be more honest than what they are, and with that, I think will come more points because we're with the points we're scoring right now. It just means that every game will be close, and so we'd like to see more points generated, and that usually comes through balance.
What was the general morale of the guys this morning?
They're mad, frustrated, like me. We're all about the same, mad and frustrated, and one got away that we thought we had a great chance to win, and felt like we did it. Even watching the film and dissecting it every possible way, there was plenty of opportunities for us to travel all that way and get a win, and we didn't, and so it's frustrating.
Is this when you linger on because of that? You feel like you let one slip away?
Not necessarily. I'm not very good moving forward until I get complete closure, and I had to watch it a couple times, and the staff maybe has seen it too many times with me. But sometimes the biggest lessons and the most valuable ones are the ones that come when you don't win. And it had been a while since we hadn't won, and I don't like it very much.
Maybe assess the defensive effort, what you need to improve on.
Overall, I think, and we put a strong performance together. Other than there was a PI call in the end zone, and the targeting play that led to a touchdown, and so that all happened. We had an assignment mistake on the slip screen that went for about 50 yards. So all 3 of those things were on the same drive. And then we need to hold Missouri to a field goal. They got the ball in the 16 after a turnover, had a great chance to hold them to a field goal, and we're close. But yeah, maybe one score too many is what a couple mistakes led to there. They played third down, third and short. They converted, I think, 6 or 7 third and 3 or lesses, and so that allowed them to play more plays. I think I talked about that after the game.
It looked like you were really focused on stopping the deep ball, rolling safety deep, and fairly successful in that. But did that open up the run? You know, they were able to get some, 3-4 yards on those first 2 downs to get those third and shorts.
They were in the first half. So on their first down rush attempts ended up being on the game was 2.5 yards, and so we ended up addressing it and taking care of it fairly well, knowing that that you can't run it. I think it was 3.5 yards on the entire game per rush, and it was kind of like defending an option team. It was just run and run and run. And I think they just trusted their defense to and were content with a low-scoring game. And it took me a while to figure that out. The runs were going to be on third down rather than throws. We haven't seen that for a while.
Will you appeal the Saitautu targeting ejection?
I send in plays every week that I think are questionable, and I'll send it in from the copy of film that I see. I'll send it in.
If you lose that, he'll have to sit out the first half against Fresno?
I don't know. I wish I was brushed up on my rules enough to know. I don't remember when it happened, if it was first half or second half. And but yeah, I'll follow up with that. But I haven't even looked that far yet.
Coach, it'll be your last time you coach seniors Bronson Kaufusi and Mitch Matthews at home. What do those guys have meant to you, and some of these senior players that you've played with, that you've coached over the years?
They've recruited every one of them, and they've been really helpful in establishing a really strong winning tradition, and especially this year, just handling not only on the field business really well, but off the field and what they're representing and how they're acting. I've really been impressed, and I want them to win. I want them to have success because of that. I think they're trying really hard to represent BYU in the standards besides playing well.
Do you expect to get Taryn Hout back?
Hopeful. With each concussion, the protocol takes a little longer, and the standards are a little bit more stringent, as they should be, and so we're hopeful.
How healthy is the offensive line?
Healthy. So after watching them in the game, normal bumps and bruises, but I would say they're all capable and ready now.
Are there any other significant injuries coming out of that at all that you're aware of?
Micah Hanneman had a concussion in the game, and Mike Davis has a rib injury of some sort, and so at this point, I'm not sure what their status is.
You're wearing Arizona Cardinals gear. Did you see Drew Stanton's dance last night?
I didn't. I didn't turn on the TV yesterday. This came, so we have a kind of a new tradition. All the guys that are playing for an NFL team that came from BYU, when the scouts show up, there's usually a subtle request for, I'd like to represent your team, and for our guys that are there. And so they hooked me up with the special military edition of the Cardinals thing, but I didn't watch any football.
Corey Edwards win the kickoff job, or was something wrong with Austin?
No, he won it during the week. Austin struggled the week before. I'm trying to remember who he played. San Jose. And so we opened up the job again for kickoff, and Corey, through all the charting and different things during the week, earned the job and did a nice job in the game. So those two will compete again for this week and maybe for the rest of the season.
And you said you just barely started, but what are your impressions of Fresno State?
So we're familiar with their coaches from University of Utah and from Air Force, and it's certainly not an issue of scheme. They have good schemes and good strategies, which really everyone does. It's college football, so sometimes you kind of hope to turn the film and say, oh, they don't know what they're doing. But that just doesn't happen. So schemes and strategy are good. Consistency is usually the difference of the teams that are winning a lot and not winning. And so I would say consistency right now.
Coach, you have the opportunity to remain undefeated at home. What would that mean to you and to the program if you could do that?
It's huge. There's a number of things that when I was named the head coach that I kind of imposed on myself, and making sure that we played really well at home was one of them. I always like the idea of 10 wins, because very few teams do it. There's about 10% each year that get that done, and usually when you do that, you finish in the top 25, and so that would be the first of the things to come that would help with this senior class and their legacy or the finish that they have.
This game could get tricky with the senior blankets with Taysom.
Yeah.
Has there been any decision yet or any talk?
Not yet. But the best case scenario for Taysom is we might award 2. I mean, so when in doubt, we'll award extras. So if we're not sure what someone's going to do, then we'll give them 1, and if they want to come back, they don't have to give it back. They'll keep that one, and we'll give them another one.
So he hasn't talked to you about anything?
No,
yet?
we're not talking till the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you sum up Trevor Sampson's career?
And Trev's been super consistent and really had a great experience at BYU. And from lining up in a 3-point stance on his tryout video that he sent in and sprinting onto the field to kick a ball because he'd seen our offensive defense come from that, I was intrigued, and he's done a really nice job. And it's a huge surprise if he ever misses. And he's just very consistent and a great young man. And I'm really glad he came to BYU.
How does Bronson compare with other defensive
Oh
linemen?
man, Bronson that was one of the best games that I've seen a defensive player play. I mean, he was all over the place and played so hard and tried with everything he had to try to help win that game. And he was making plays downfield and upfield and sideways, and he's so versatile. And then in the meantime, he's just encouraging his teammates and so optimistic. And we have this, and we're going to win. And he's everything that I would want in a BYU football player. And I've had great players that struggled with the standards here, and I've had guys that have lived the standards but struggled on the field, and he's great in all circumstances, and he's the perfect BYU player.
Anything else?
Okay, thanks.